There we are. Sorry about that. Just basically saying we are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. So, yep, round two, 0, 0, 0 by 0. Sorry about that. So we'll fix it. Start it 1 minute in. Anyway, I need to get going anyway and get started so I can get to bed. Mississippi Coast Cajun Prepper said, I can't stand the schedule. It's late. Sorry, guys. I have a family and I hang out with them. I do. I hang out with them. So when it gets done and they're all in bed, then I come and I do this. And you're my family after my family. So I appreciate you being here. All right, let's get started at the crisis report for September 23rd, 2025. Augusta Precious Metals. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try it out. I don't know if you've seen the price of gold and silver lately, but they are highly touted, and you do an information session, and then you either go with it or not. So consider it. All right, let's go. This is your crisis report. Escalator to war. Here we go. Canada's Prime Minister Carney says Putin has stolen Ukrainian children. Thousands of children have been abducted by Russia. I think they ate them too. Germany ranks last for 2025 in the OECD. It's like an economic thing. They're doing terrible. They used to be the engine of Europe. Now they're gone. Jordan's King says Israel's hostile rhetoric calling for the targeting of Al-Aqsa Mosque will incite a religious war that would reach far beyond the region. Trump says that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft that enter the airspace. Melania Trump announces the Fostering the Future. It's a global coalition of nations to ensure every child can flourish in the digital age, with an inaugural meeting set for Q1 2026 at the White House. Gil Bates and his foundation are going to pledge $1 billion to the Global Fund for fighting a whole bunch of stuff. He's going to be working hard on the pokey poke. Ryan Ruth found guilty. All 5 charges related to the attempted hit of Trump at Trump International Golf Course in Florida last year. He tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen after he was guilty. Verdict was read. All I can say is this: you have fun in prison, sir. You're gonna have a good old time. Trump says, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win. All of Ukraine back in its original form. Good luck to all. So, yeah, I guess the whole let's get peace thing is out the way, and we're going to get set up for World War III. Trump on Ukraine says, let's get them their land back. He said, I'm on the side of Israel. I've been on the side of Israel basically since birth. Lindsey Graham said, hey, Trump 2028. Hope this never ends. When he asked what should do if a Russian jet flies into your country, shoot it down, is what he said. Lindsey was happy. President Trump meets Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif at UN in New York. Reports indicate that Pakistan Prime Minister and U.S. President will hold a one-on-one bilateral meeting at the White House in Washington, D.C. on September 25th at the invitation of President Trump. He's basically cozying up to Pakistan because he knows that India is basically going to keep doing what they're doing. See what happens. Google has admitted that it's censored Americans under the Biden administration and promised to reinstate thousands of accounts banned for political speech. It'd be great if they were to stop shadow banning channels like mine that have been at the same exact number of subscribers now for 7 months. That is not normal. That's not how human beings act. And if you could stop suppressing and censoring my people that come here and want to leave comments, that'd be great too. So it's wonderful that you put out a lame-ass apology, but if you could actually do some real work and fix your freaking algorithm that pushes all kinds of BS on people, that'd be great. You can start there. Secretary Sean Duffy says the plane that took off during Charlie Kirk's murder shows no signs of suspicious activity, but pledges to keep investigating. Everybody was freaked out on this no call sign plane that took off. Ryan Ruth, suspect in the Trump hit, has been found guilty. Top advisor to Attorney General Pam Bondi has suddenly resigned from the Department of Justice. Kind of an interesting one there. Not sure. North Carolina House has approved Erinya's law, putting an end to the cashless bail for violent offenders. We have a little bit of a piece on her coming up. It's a big night. They actually had a memorial service for her. I'm sure you haven't heard about it. TikTok is censoring and removing videos that expose how a group led by pro-Israeli billionaire Larry Ellison is preparing to seize control of the platform and restrain the algorithm to supposedly silence criticism of Israel. Now, I don't know the truth or validity about that, but yeah, stranger things. Truckloads of anti-scale fencing are being delivered to the White House in Washington, D.C. Afghan migrant, numerous sexual offenses, is denied deportation even after he asked to be deported back to Afghanistan because he does not have an Afghanistan passport. French judge who denied his deportation said the Afghans could not accept him without an Afghan passport. Migrant's lawyer told the judge he is mentally challenged and that he does not understand the consequences of being deported, and therefore he must remain in France for his safety. Migrant has been in France since 2017 and does not speak French. He's homeless, and he's sentenced to 6 months in prison for indecent exposure in order to pay a $200 or €200 fine. That's awesome. You're doing great, France. President Trump was just asked if he thinks NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft that violate their airspace. He said, "Yes, I do." Trump was then asked if he still trusts Russian President Vladimir Putin, answering, "I'll let you know in about a month from now." So he's doing this whole, maximum pressure thing, stuff like that. So, what's going on? Let's see what we got. Here we go. Who's that? You guys are speaking French. Ego Sum. Good to see you, Ego Sum. I'm from southern Italy. You talking about me? No, I'm not. I'm from the Midwest. So, arrivederci. Asa lasagna. Don't get any on you. So, there we go. Engaged. All right, cool. Good to see y'all. Thanks for being here. Possibly consider being a member. That helps the channel and kind of keeps them off my balls. All right, so yeah, you can shoot down all the planes you want. Not that that's going to lead to any kind of a World War III type thing. Oh, here's a little deeper dive into Google admitting that it censored thousands of YouTube content creators at the request of the Biden administration has offered to lift the bans on those content creators and let them return. House Judiciary GOP got Google to promise to never use third-party fact checkers again, as Google heavily relied on them in the past to ban YouTube channels, even when their videos did not break the app's terms of services. I actually got a response from one of the fine people from Patreon about being banned from there because evidently I was stereotypical about people of a certain lifestyle, because I pointed out the statistical fact that they tend to be engaged in certain behaviors that might really make you mad if you're a parent. So they said, "Well, you just." I mean, basically, what they do is they say this kind of stuff, and then they say that they can remove you because they don't like what you have to say. Now, they say they call it hate speech. Using statistics to point out statistical facts is not hate speech. Okay. Disliking a person for their skin color, okay, we could go there. Disagreeing with people's lifestyles, no, that's not hatred. That's called I don't like what you do. Just as I'm sure they're not really happy with Christians. So the hate speech moniker has been used for so long, it's basically overdone. Okay. And they're getting bit in the butt by it. That's why the entire generation of youngins are not going their way, because, doing things that are avant-garde and all that, they like to do that. So when you make everything hate speech and illegal and terrible, what do you expect to happen? So we'll see where all this goes. I don't expect anything. I actually went back through. I've got all the receipts of the times I've been taken down. I'll probably put them in tomorrow's video. So I've already taken them Let you guys remember back in the day when I got a strike from a year and a half earlier because I had the audacity to have one of my skins, which is one of the things I put over my videos so I don't show my face. It was talking about a cocktail that had vitamin Ivan in it. I got a strike for that, and then they came back a month later, gave me another one because I had the audacity to show war footage, and I almost lost my channel. So I put it down for 3 months, didn't do anything on it. And here we are. Too little, too late. Ali Larijani, Iranian SNSC secretary and top nuclear negotiator, said today that Iran has been asked in the negotiations to limit its ballistic missile range to 500 kilometers, which is unacceptable. And think about all the terrible things I do here, folks. Look at this. I give you information. I do it in short form with links and everything provided on a Substack. You know, I mean, what am I talking about? Am I talking about like harmful things here? Am I just telling you what's going on and pointing out some problems that you might want to be aware of? But I'm evil. I'm the evil one. Trump now backs Ukraine's 1991 borders after previously saying he'd recognize Crimea as Russian. Ukraine's population has fallen to 28.7 million in 2025. That's down from 37.3 in 2019 due to the war, immigration, displacement of 3.7 million people, and record low birth rates. Their population was 52 million in 1991. Trump promises more weapon sales to NATO. Published an article criticizing Atlantic published an article criticizing Undersecretary of Defense Eldridge Colby for halting the sale of MIM-104 Patriot interceptor missiles to NATO allies because the U.S. interceptor stocks were just 25% full. Simply couldn't afford to sell them anymore and risking the security of American interests and bases of the U.S.-Asia security, which is already undermined by the lack of interceptor missiles. Trump pledged to sell more weapons and is out of touch with reality. He wants to sell weapons he doesn't have right when he's going to make a move on Venezuela and God knows who and what the Israelis have in plan for Iran, Egypt, and Turkey. It's a good point. Possible deployment of the Patriot air defense system from Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar, to Puerto Rico in support of the United States' recent deployment aimed at Venezuela. U.S. is redeploying a Patriot air defense system to defend from the drug cartels, and after the Venezuelans empty the stocks of interceptor missiles for the Patriot systems, what will the U.S. sell to Europe then? Hours before Donald Trump adhered to the maximalist demands of the Ukrainian president, Deputy Chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Medvedev, expressed Russia's desire to reactivate the New START treaty, and suspended in 2023. New START treaty, or the treaty between the U.S. of America, the United States of America, and Russian Federation, measures for the further reduction and limitation of strategic offensive arms, shortened often as where was I? Sorry. Anyway, so shortened often as reduction of strategic offensive arms. Treaty puts limits on Russians' American deployment, nuclear warheads, the number of deployed and non-deployed intercontinental ballistic missile launchers, submarines, all that crap. Number of deployed ICBMs, SLBMs, heavy bombers, nuclear armaments, what's all limited to 700. New START treaty entered into full force in 2011. It's going to expire in February 2026. Trump accepting Ukraine's maximalist demands and adopting the same anti-Russian stance as the EU has opened the doors to a new arms race between the U.S. and Russia, and is highly unlikely Moscow will ever want to negotiate an extension of the treaty after that. There will be war. Breaking, Iran has the capability to develop its nuclear program, Rafael Grossi, IAEA Director General, said. Iran is heavily protecting its 60% enriched uranium stockpile because it believes it is still vulnerable to further attacks. Large vigil was held for Elena Zarutska in the southern end of Charlotte. You can watch the vigil on YouTube. So many amazing people came out to celebrate the life of the beautiful young woman who lost her life failed legal system. Iryna Zarutska vigil in South End Charlotte was attended by hundreds of people, religious speakers from different denominations and orthodoxies. She's a daughter and a sister. She fled war in Ukraine to build a new life in the U.S., and she was fatally stabbed during a random attack in Charlotte by a violent repeat offender with 14 prior arrests, released every time. She followed the rules. He got endless chances. She got none, and the mainstream media isn't covering any of this. She was 23. Pray for her soul and her family. Absolutely. At least 2 explosions now reported from Palstredet, Oslo, Norway. Authorities are advising residents to stay away from the windows and avoid the area. It's now becoming clear as day where there is a military buildup in the Caribbean because there continues to be a buildup in Europe. And it's all coming into the picture now. This is Aquila basically saying we're getting geared up for World War III. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act, according to President Trump. At least 2 suspected B-2 bombers are airborne from Whiteman Air Force Base, crossing the Atlantic. And from Amir Sarfati, he said it's going to get really bad in Europe, not because of anti-Semitism, but simply because of a ring of fire made up of demographics, immigration, collapsing core values, alongside the cumbersome and unified mechanism of a failing European Union. I can already see why the Antichrist will rise from there. There you have it. That, my friends, is your crisis report for September 23rd, 2025. Brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Brought to you by OUPES, OUPES.com. 52% off their solar generators right now. Usually $500-$600. Now they're about $300 or so. Go check them out in the partnership area of the description. You can join us on Gab, Minds, Truth, Twitter, X, Subscribe Star, and Locals. And you become a member here like John Evans. Thank you, John. And, yeah, you get a full transcript of this on Substack. But Lord knows, nobody wants to watch this. Oh, that's right. No, they do. You just can't ever see me because the algorithm hides the channel. So YouTube, feel free to take the chains off this channel that works diligently on your platform to bring people here by giving solid information with a guy that's got a background in it and a few degrees in history. Okay? It'd be nice. All right, friends, God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.